Hello and welcome to Sunday's Polkadot Markets Watch video, where I take a look at some of the parachains on Polkadot and also Kusama and Polkadot itself, of course. So we'll take a look at the prices as we usually do on KuCoin. We'll take a look to see how they've been doing, where could they be going. Of course, this is all guesstimation. There's not guarantees here. Nobody really knows the future. Nobody has a crystal ball. We can only go by support and resistance and the fundamentals of what we know so far, because I always use fundamentals in these videos as well. So we'll take a look at Phala here, so PHA. As you can see, it's holding extremely well. Like for the last week since we last looked at this, I mean since the 22nd, in fact, here you could see that we had that nice pop to over 17 bucks here, almost 18 cents, in fact, almost 18 cents. And we dropped down to 14.3, where we managed to hold really well with some really good support around that area. And we've been accumulating ever since, which is awesome, because remember, there was that halving event which dropped the rewards by about 25 to 30%. They're now averaging around 67% across all the different validator pools. Which is still really great, considering that we're in a bear market, considering that you don't really see any other parachains giving you these kind of APYs, right? And so for me personally, I am staking Phala, of course, on Phala Network to generate these dividends, and I am selling those dividends to reinvest in other cryptocurrencies, mostly Ethereum and Atom right now. But that's just me personally. From next year, I'm gonna get into Bitcoin. I'm going to be accumulating a lot of Bitcoin, because why not, right? I've already got a lot of exposure in the Polkadot ecosystem, and so I just want to get more exposure into others as well. And so yeah, this is how it is. Almost 15 cents. It's holding great. I really like this, you know, and it is on Binance, so that also helps, of course, with extra liquidity. I will be keeping an eye out on this though on the 30th, because on the 30th is when the contract with Alamida's market makers is gonna end. So we'll see if the price will continue to hold after the 30th, right? Because I am expecting, I hope it doesn't happen, but I am expecting a slight dump on that date, just because Alameda will no longer be doing market making. So they're the cause for these pumps here, to be honest. I mean, they're the ones buying, selling to generate that liquidity. And so I'm not saying it happens here on KuCoin. It could just be on Binance, right? But it does happen, so just know that they are really the cause. As you can see, they've gone quiet this last number of days now, in the last week, to be fair. We'll have to see if there's going to be one more pop just before the 30th. If not, then I think we're going to go down for a bit, and then we'll see if we stabilize maybe around 12 cents, maybe even 10 cents. You know, we could expect these kind of lows, because remember, with high APY, you also get a lot more selling, because people are usually selling those staking rewards to reinvest, or maybe to cash out if they make a living of that, especially the pool owners as well, because they get a commission. So that's what I'm expecting. Like in the worst case scenario, maybe around 10 cents. I mean, if we look at the previous support area here, let's go back further in the past here. So we've got somewhere around 10 cents here. As you can see, just this little pop here, that's going to act as support, but then the remaining of it is going to be around 8 cents. So 8 cents has been flat out solid support. We didn't go below that even when Bitcoin was doing pretty nasty. But remember that we did have this massive pop to 50 cents thanks to these Alameda market makers. And so that definitely helped keep the momentum higher, you know, above the average. And it was much harder to see a complete dump all the way down to 8 cents, considering that there was so much buying volume here, so much liquidity pushed into this. And this was likely when they started their contract as well. As you can see, this was on the 14th of October. I'm assuming they started their contract around then, and that's likely why we saw the massive pop. But we have been on a downtrend ever since, with the odd pop to the upside now and again. And then we had this other one as well, trying to keep the momentum high again, because we weren't looking good here. We're in a pretty nasty situation. 16 cents. We were holding okay-ish, but we could have gone lower if this didn't happen, you know. So this definitely helped here. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind here when it comes to these market makers. So yeah, 10 cents in the worst case scenario, even 8 cents. Of course, for the upside, you can expect some resistance around 15.5 cents because of these areas here, but then the other ones would be around 17 to 18 cents. for the upside potential. Let's move on and talk about NEER next. NEER is 25.6 cents at the time of doing this video. Not great. We did go down to 22 cents in fact, so there was a massive dump. This was on the 21st, as you can see when we had this. Then we went back up here to 30 cents, but it's just been dumping again because the selling pressure is immense for this one as well. With every pop you get a lot of selling pressure as well, so people are eagerly getting out. Likely some market manipulation. I'm wondering if it's actually market makers as well. It could be market makers, but we're not 100% sure on that. So yeah, I mean 25 cents seems to be holding okay-ish for now. We could revisit the 22 cents area though. Just keep that in mind that it is a possibility, but we have to see because we are getting very close to getting our chaos lands as well. So, and then with the Bit token listing on DEXs, perhaps there will be some more demand for this coin, you know, for NEER, because if people can buy NEER to stake it and generate Bit to either build on the metaverse or maybe trade it, if they just want to stake for staking rewards, you know, and they want to trade it, they want to sell it on those DEXs, depending on the value of Bit, I mean, you could potentially see some more buying pressure at that time. But for now, we still don't know. It's still in the gray zone, so I think that this area might be holding until some bullish news come out for us NEER holders, of course. Next up, let's look at RMRK. RMRK again is been holding pretty okay around $2. As you can see here, had the odd dump now and again, but then it just goes back again. So 225, you know, it's been holding this way since the 13th, to be fair, since the 14th in fact, when we had this dump here. So since the 14th of November, it's been pretty stable. It turned into a stable coin. It's actually more stable than AUSD, pun intended, right? So remember that this was the last area of support as well. So it's pretty obvious at this stage that $2.20 is where RMRK doesn't want to drop lower. It's where RMRK wants to accumulate. It's where holders are happy to just hold at that stage. You know, they're thinking, why should I dump lower than that? And so there's definitely not a lot of selling pressure there. If there is, maybe it's very slight selling pressure because of the bots usually. These are usually the bots doing it. So yeah, definitely the community. There was some hype here that it went to 340 because there was some speculation that they'll get listed on Binance. But of course, the speculation always dies out like it does in every case pretty much. And so as you can see, it jumped right back down. It was a full-blown pullback here. A full pullback here, exactly from where we started. We've gone back to again. So yeah, it is a shame. But yeah, this is the area of support right now. In terms of resistance, we will encounter some resistance around 240 and then a little bit more resistance around 260, followed by the next area around $3. Looking at MOVR, again, MOVR just on a constant downtrend, but MOVR has also been holding okay. So just like RMRK, you know, it's been pretty stable, just like Phala as well, pretty stable ever since it had this dump to $8, but it doesn't mean we can't go lower. There's no end in sight for this. Remember that with Canary networks right now, things are not looking bright, and we have to admit that this is the situation. There's no way around that, unfortunately. We went all the way up to 1290. I don't know if we're gonna see 1290 anytime soon again, unfortunately. It's just things are not looking great, but we could see 950. I'm expecting something like 950 on the next pop here, which we're going to get, because remember, we do get these wicks from time to time, like we got this one here was smaller for MOVR. So I'm expecting another week, maybe to around 950, followed by a further dump, possibly even to the 650 area, because that's how things are. It's just constant selling pressure, because remember, collators are getting those staking rewards, and collators need to fund their operations, so they're selling. Also, stakers who are staking with those collators end up selling as well. Most of them do. So that's the situation. Looking at GLMR, 36.5 cents here, holding okay-ish as well. Same as with MOVR. It had that dump here, and then it's been finding support around this area. So I think it's going to stick around this area for a while until the next unlock, of course, or unless Bitcoin dumps even lower. But in terms of resistance, it does have resistance around 45 cents. Plenty of it, in fact. So it's going to be very hard to break that. So if you are expecting some upside momentum, expect it up to 45 cents, then a dump back down, then maybe it's going to retest again if there will be a reason for it. There has to be a reason. There always has to be a reason. Without a reason, you're not going to see momentum. Next up, let's look at Astar. Astar had an impressive pop here to 4.7 cents. This was a nice wick here. I'm not sure the reason behind this. Maybe it's just somebody that wanted to buy a larger bag and it just didn't have the patience to wait and get filled by the bot selling. So they just went boom and bought it off the market. And so that could be the reason behind this pop here, because it dropped right back down. Bots were just constantly selling to it. And so, yeah, it is holding okayish around 4 cents, but it looks like it wants to start the uptrend here. So it looks okayish, not very bullish, because it hasn't broken this area here. We're not out of the woods yet. We need to break out of this area here, which is around 4.2 cents. So if it gets another pop here and continues to sustain itself around 4.3, 4.4, then it could mean that we have started that uptrend, which would be awesome, of course. But until that happens, you know, we're too early to say for sure. And looking at Calamari here, Calamari had a lot of dumps as well to 0.0015 cents, which is really bad here. As you can see, we're just a lot of selling pressure here. There were two of them, in fact, so somebody just wanted to sell their full bag here. They sold on this first week here, and then they sold more on the second week, and then it went back up again. But now it's stabilizing around this area, so we have to see. But it does get a lot of spikes, to be honest, you know. So there are usually people that buy like a bunch of it, probably to stake, and then some just want to get out, right? So yeah, we are still in this downtrend now when it comes to KMA. It's not looking good. Let me actually change this to 200-day here. Let's change this to 200-day because it's always better to see where we're heading. So we are still below the 200-day moving average. In fact, here we have just broken a little bit above it. So if we can continue to push above 0.0992, then we could get back into that uptrend, right? There could be a possibility here, but a catalyst needs to happen. They need news, like with everything. Without news, it's not going to happen. But for now, I think this area is a pretty good support area, and I don't see us going much lower unless Bitcoin dumps, of course, because that's what determines the market. Let's look at AUSD and see how that's been doing. AUSD is pretty much a joke right now. I'm surprised that it hasn't gotten delisted of KuCoin yet. So almost 25 cents here. Again, it is holding quite stable, but it's a shame. It's a shame that it had to come to this, and we had to see this. Deposits and withdrawals are still suspended. Dan Reeser has said that it's KuCoin that manages that, but then KuCoin CEO went over to say on Twitter that it's the Acala team that needs to let them know when they can reinstate deposits and withdrawals. And then, you know, it's like, who can you believe here? I mean, is Johnny, the CEO of KuCoin, right, or is Dan Reeser right? And I'm more inclined to believe that the CEO of KuCoin is telling the truth here, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that have to act upon what the team is requesting, right? If the team is saying, please reinstate the deposits and withdrawals, then, you know, they'll do it. You know, why not? Because at the end of the day, the team have paid to get this listing on there on KuCoin. So I'm more inclined to believe the CEO of KuCoin than I am to believe the Acala team in this case. So, yeah, I mean, this is the situation we're in. Unfortunately, for people that still have AUSD on KuCoin, it means you are still trapped for now until we hear more from the team, and if they will be giving us more information, of course, especially because the KuCoin CEO went out to speak about that. So we'll have to see if the team ignore it or if the team accept it. Let's look at Kusama here. Kusama is doing okayish, 26.68. Again, okayish is relative, right? But it is above the 200-day moving average. So it looks like it wants to start that uptrend. But once again, it's in the same situation as with the last one I was mentioning here. 29 bucks is the area of resistance. So until it breaks 29, we're still not out of the woods. We need to see a trade above 30 to say, okay, we are beginning a new uptrend for a while, because, you know, these uptrends are not going to be strong uptrends. So maybe a slight uptrend followed by some consolidation around 30 something, and then to dump back down again. So we could potentially see 30 bucks for Kusama, which is awesome. So we'll have to see. Let's look at DOT as well as the final one for today. Where is DOT here? USDT. $5.38. This one is not doing as good as Kusama. In fact, surprisingly, it's doing worse than Kusama because it is trading under the 200-day moving average. It's just about consolidating here, but it's still on that downtrend. So until it breaks above 613, we're not out of the woods, and it's going to take a while for it to break above 613, because remember, the market cap of DOT is much higher than that of Kusama, so it takes a lot more buying pressure, a lot more monetary value in order to break past that and to get a demand. So we'll have to see if Bjorn, the new co-founder of Polkadot, is going to speak out at Sub-Zero and is going to give some news to people or make some announcement which is going to drive that buying pressure for DOT. But until that happens, then I don't think we're going to get out of this situation that we're in right now, unfortunately. So yeah, that's what I wanted to do in today's video and talk about this. I hope you found this informative. Thank you for watching. Drop me a comment below. What do you think of the market conditions and of the coins I spoke about? Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.